I'm Gabriel Shu. Over the summer, I did some learning about machine learning and I decided to make this presentation. We're going to talk about how to learn machine learning, why to learn it, and why you might not want to learn it. And even if you don't want to learn machine learning, this is still going to be useful for you because I'm going to talk about learning in general, which is an important thing. So first off, there are a few words that get mixed up around machine learning. So first there's AI, which basically is the broad term for anything related to computers having some sort of smart behavior. And this word's been around for a while. But machine learning is newer. It involves specifically algorithms getting trained on data to do what you want to do. And then there's deep learning, which is machine learning except with neural networks, which are these algorithms that mimic a system of neurons in the brain, so they can be super powerful. But today we're just going to talk about machine learning. So this tree shows the relationships between the different ML challenges or types. First, there's reinforcement learning, which is probably what you think ML is. Basically, you have the machine figure out what's good and bad by itself from feedback from its environment. And then there's supervised learning, which is when you give the algorithm a goal and you feed data into it and nudge it towards doing your goal, which is usually predicting something. And then there's unsupervised learning, where you give the machine data and you make it find whatever patterns you want to on its own. Okay, so you may want to learn ML for a number of reasons. First, the field is super good. There's a very high and growing demand for ML people, and the job is very lucrative. Also, ML is not going anywhere because it's just so powerful. It's super versatile. It has applications for really anything, and there's data everywhere. Every business has data, and ML can also do things traditional programs can't. So you might want to learn ML to get into the field, but it's also just a good thing to know anyways because it's really used everywhere. It's in all your technology, it's in all your apps, and it's in most companies. Besides, learning ML can be really fun because it's pretty cool. It's also really accessible now with all the online resources, and that can also be free to learn. And since ML is so versatile and there's data for basically anything, it has applications in probably any of your interests. Okay, but learning ML is not so easy. And it's not so easy to get an ML role either. So to get an ML job, basically a lot of jobs require some sort of graduate degree in ML and also some experience as a software engineer or data analyst. So it takes a lot of experience and time. So it's not super easy, but that also applies to other things and other jobs as well. However, you may still want to learn ML on your own because, like we said before, it can be really fun. Also, it'll help you explore a career path and may help you if you want to get an ML job. Also, it's good to demonstrate passion for something, like if you want to, it may help if you want to apply for college. But when you're learning ML on your own, you're going to run into some issues. So it'll take a long time and it's pretty difficult at points and you can get bored of it. So you have to figure out how to motivate yourself. And this goes for learning all things because most disciplines are pretty difficult to learn and require a lot of time. Yeah, you'll have to figure out motivation. Like you'll want to figure out exactly why are you learning ML? Why are you doing it? And there's a lot of motivation advice out there. You might hear words like dopamine detox, accountability, challenging yourself and breaking it down, and you'll want to look into those. You also have to figure out time management. You don't want to procrastinate. you want to make consistent progress over time. Also, ML learning on your own, like all self-learning, is unstructured. You have to make your own plan, make your own course, and you might not like that, and that might be a big hindrance to you. However, there are upsides to all these things. Learning how to motivate yourself and manage your time is important. And also, since you make your own plan, you can do what interests you. Like, you can do projects that interest you on data that interests you. Also, you can go at your own pace and learning style, which can be super helpful. Okay, so this is the ML process. We'll run into it a lot. So first, it involves data collection, because you need data to put into algorithms. And then you also have to clean the data, because in the real world, data isn't so nicely formatted. So you have to make it into a usable form. Then you'll get to analyze the data, look for patterns in it on your own, see what it's all about. Then you can build the model, where you train the algorithm on it, and then you deploy the model, which is like packaging it up for use in some sort of application or something. But this process isn't so clear-cut, and it can be really messy, especially in the real world. Also, you're bound to run into a lot of failure, like really bad models, and then you have to iterate. So this process is really iterative, and it can take a long time. Also, you might hear these different words for different jobs. So data scientists kind of have to do with the whole process. Data engineers deal with the early upstream data parts, and then data analysts primarily analyze the data, and ML engineers, they deal with the ML algorithms. Okay, so how do you learn really anything online? Well, you have to consume information, and you have to make sense of it, and then you have to apply it, like in projects or something. So you want to consume information via like books or courses, just anything out there. Then to make sense of it, it can be super helpful to take notes. Like, keep a notebook and connect the dots. And then you might also want to keep a journal or some sort of a blog. It can be really helpful to see how much progress you've made over time. That can be really motivating. And then you'll want to do projects to really apply it. So let's talk about notes. So this is my notebook it's a digital notebook. This is my ML folder. You can check it out a bit. Yeah, so you want to keep a notebook because, well, like most things, ML has a lot of moving parts, and you want to put together the big picture. Also, when you use a notebook, you put things in your own words, which is super helpful when you're learning something. And it's just really simple, easy thing to do, but it's so powerful and it's really versatile. Like, I use it for other things as well. Yeah, so you'll want to take notes on the ML process, which we just talked about. You'll also want to talk about the different types of ML and any confusing things or things you don't really know yet. Also, it can be helpful to track what resources and projects you're going through. Okay, so you also want to do projects to really apply the information, and also it just helps you to remember things better. You can also build a portfolio, which is nice. Yeah, so you want to start small when you're doing projects. Be realistic with yourself. Also, don't be a perfectionist. You have to be rugged with projects, and when you're starting out especially, you want to emphasize quantity over quality, put in the reps. And you also want to get into the habit of shipping your projects, because that's really important. And it's also good to vary your projects, do the different ML challenges, do supervised learning and unsupervised learning. It can also be really good to do projects that interest you. That can help you stay motivated with them because they can take a while. Yeah, so here are the different resources for learning ML. First, we're going to talk about Kaggle. So Kaggle is really good. It has really just everything in one place, and it's also free. So first, there are these competitions you have. Yeah, for example, so in competitions, they give you a challenge. So for example, this one, you have to try to predict who survived the Titanic and who didn't. And yeah, these are good. They give you the data here. You can check it out. And then they also, here's the leaderboard where like you show everybody's scores. Yeah, so these are challenges. They're good. You'll want to do them. And you also want to work on, and then Kaggle also has these notebooks. And notebooks are they're like where you do your work basically. And they're not just on Kaggle, like other places have them too. Yeah, so notebooks, you can have these, you can write code in it and run it, and the output is straight in the notebook, so that can be really cool. And you can also put text in it, which is nice because you can explain what you're doing. Yeah. And what's good about having the output right here in the notebook is that it can be very quick, and it's nice to have everything in one place. Yeah, so on Kaggle, a lot of people publish their notebooks like this person, and it can be really helpful to look at what other people are doing, and often they show why they're doing things, like they use the text to like explain what they're doing. Yeah, so you want to look at other people's notebooks. Yeah, and then Kaggle also has these courses which are super good. They're really compact and they're good for an introduction to the topic. Like, for example, most of them only take 1 week. Yeah, so that's Kaggle. Also, when you're learning ML, you'll probably Google a lot of questions you'll have, and you can find answers on YouTube or from Towards Data Science articles. Towards Data Science is this website which has a lot of ML articles. And then, books are really good. It can be really compact. And there's this one which is recommended by a lot of people. It's pretty good. Then there's scikit-learn. So scikit-learn is basically this library for machine learning in Python. And they have this user guide which is pretty helpful. It has information on a lot of different ML things. It can be pretty helpful to read. Yeah, then there's TensorFlow, which is basically, it's like, well, first of all, it's like this library, it's this tool for ML, but also their website has a lot of helpful things. Like, I think they have some courses there and a lot of other resources. So you could check that out too. Yeah, when you're learning anything, like, courses are really good. For ML, there's paid ones, but there's also free ones, which are pretty good too. Also, there's this bonus resource I found by this guy named Daniel Bork. Basically, he made this big mind map of basically everything that you'll need to know when you're learning ML. Like, he talks about the process, the different tools, the problems, and resources, and the maths that you might need. Yeah, so definitely check this out if you're going to learn ML. Okay. However, you might not want to learn ML. So, because, like, first of all, it can be super abstract because you're just making this model instead of building in concrete application, and you might not like that, so you might not want to learn ML. But you actually might like that for some reason. You might prefer it over building actual applications. Also, machine learning, it's not an exact science. So you can get unexpected failures, and that can be pretty annoying. And you might not like that, but you might like the experimentation. Like, that might be fun for you. Also, you might not want to learn ML if you are not into data analysis and tuning your models, which basically means like trying to change things so you get a better score. And yeah, you might not like that. That might be pretty boring for you, but data analysis is a good skill to have because, who knows, you might come across a data set you're interested in, or just have data that you want to check out. So data analysis is a really good skill to have. Yeah, you might also like tuning models if you like, trying to figure out the best combination and getting the best score possible. Also, training machine learning algorithms takes a really long time because when you're working with super large data sets, it just takes so long to compute. And yeah, that might be super annoying for you, but you might like that. Also, the field is constantly changing, so if you don't like to constantly be learning things, you you probably shouldn't go into the field. However, you might like learning, so you might be fine with that. Yeah, so there's a lot of upsides and downsides, and ML might not be for you. However, if you don't want to learn ML, but you do like its applications, you can use models that are posted online. Like, for example, TensorFlow has models you can use. So basically you can take existing models out there and use it in your own projects if you want to have their cool applications in whatever you're making. Yeah, so machine learning is pretty cool. It's really cool actually. And now it's more accessible than ever. Like, this is the time to learn it if you want to. Yeah, so if you want to learn machine learning, now you know how, and you got some nice resources too. But if you don't want to learn machine learning, you now know a bit about the technology that has really taken over the world. And you also have learned how to learn self-taught, which is a really important skill today. By the way, learning is a universal thing we get to do. It's really difficult, but it's well worth it. Best wishes on your learning journey.